Kathi,
Kathi, we can't hear you. You're muted.
Hello? Is it working now? Okay,
Yep.
I think it's on. Okay, I'm so sorry. All right, I'm back. So let me just start over. Hi, I'm Kathi Kersznowski. I'm coming to you from New Jersey. I'm super excited to be here. I'm pretty much super excited about everything with Flipgrid. If you know me from online, or if we've not met yet, or if we met at a conference, you'll know that I bleed green for Flipgrid, right? It's probably my favorite app of all time, my favorite web tool of all time. I love it for communicating and connecting and celebrating and a million other things. And so today I wanted to talk to you about Flipgrid, but it's such a big topic that I thought I want to take you for a deep dive into something called Flipgrid's Disco Library. So you can see that here on my background. There's Flipgrid's Disco Library, and it's a special part of Flipgrid that I think is either not known, sometimes maybe underappreciated or under-recognized, and I think it's so valuable. It's one of my it's one of my favorite parts of Flipgrid. So we're going to dive into that today and take a deep dive, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that in a second. Let me just bring up a slide so I can introduce myself kind of properly here. All right, you should be seeing my slides now. All right, so first of all, welcome to Flipgrid's Disco Library. Let's get down and dive deep into Flipgrid's massive, massive library of ideas and activities. A little about me. If we have, let's talk about the plan first. First of all, welcome to Microsoft Teams. This is the platform I most enjoy for connecting with other people over all the other web platforms that I'm sure you've been using for the past many years. I'm a Microsoft fangirl, and so I've been using this ever since we went to remote learning, and I'm so happy that we're hosting these sessions on here, and so more and more people are getting exposed to the beauty and the power of Microsoft Teams. So if this is your first time, welcome. I'm asking that everybody please, just for this part, if you would mute and turn your video off, please. It'll just save some bandwidth. This will go a little bit faster. I think that everybody's muted right now. I think that we've done that. But I want to let you know, please don't feel like your voice is not being heard, right? Flipgrid is all about sharing your voice. And so I can see your voice. I'm working on 2 computers right now. And the second one, I have the chat open. So I will be able to see your questions in the chat and see what's going on over there. Good. And hopefully answer questions as we go through. My plan for this is to do a few slides, introductory slides, and then just launch into a live demo, because Flipgrid is most powerful when we're in it, right? We don't want to see stagnant slides of a dynamic product. So we'll do that. And I want to direct your attention to the right-hand side of this screen. So this event is part of the Global Ed Tech Academy. Hashtag GETA, right? Global Ed Tech Academy. It is put on by Q.org, and it is sponsored by Microsoft. So we are featuring a lot of products that are Microsoft-y. Flipgrid is owned by Microsoft, and I'm just super proud to represent them because I believe in all of their products and the things that they're doing. Down below, you can see aka.ms/get a schedule. I love that that's so easy to remember. It doesn't actually mean get a schedule. It's an abbreviation, GETA, for Global Ed Tech Academy, but it sure does make it easy to remember, right? So you can come back and check every day, check every week. As a matter of fact, you can check all summer long, because Q and Microsoft are putting these events on all summer, hosted by all kinds of wonderful presenters and knowledgeable people on Microsoft products, on good pedagogy, on cool tech tools, on just everything you could possibly want to learn. So come back and check that schedule. Every week you'll notice new sessions are being posted and new amazing opportunities. And tell all your friends. And down below that are the 3 hashtags that if you kind of forget that website or that URL, check out those hashtags on Twitter. That's the other way you can kind of link back into this and all that's being offered. There's a ton being offered. All right, this is a little bit about me. I'm a technology integration specialist, or some schools call that a tech coach. There are lots of different names for it. And I work in a school district in southern New Jersey. I work primarily with elementary schools, and you'll kind of probably pick up on that vibe as we go through here, but I do work with middle and high school as well. Just most of my focus is working with elementary schools and elementary school teachers, and I love my job. I also am a presenter. I've done some keynote speaking. Yes, I blog, and I plan to get much more active in that in the next few weeks. If you're ever interested, I run a Facebook page. It's called Integration Innovation, and I just post cool tech tips and tidbits for teachers over there. I have an ed tech consulting business that I run on the side, a little LLC. I am a wife to a super hunky guy named Matt. I am a mom to the coolest college junior in the world who will soon be an educator like all of us. He's going for secondary ed. His name's Ryan. And I'm also a poodle owner, and Bridget, the miniature 10-pound poodle, is right here by my side, keeping me company as I do this webinar. I am an avid coffee drinker. I have some right here. I also enjoy traveling, camping, fishing, crabbing, reading, and baking, and some of those things have been keeping me sane during this time of remote learning. Not traveling, unfortunately. Nap taking is probably my greatest skill. That's why I listed it on its own line. Anybody else out there an avid nap taker? And soon, I will be an author. Oh my gosh, in about 2 weeks. I never wrote a book before, but I have co-authored the most marvelous, wonderful book with Becky Keene, who is also a Microsoft fangirl and aficionado. The two of us wrote a book, and there's a picture of it down there in the lower left-hand corner. It's called Sail the Seven Seas with Microsoft Education, and it's not a how-to guide. It's a let's celebrate the incredible things that educators around the world are doing with all these Microsoft tools that you may or may not have heard of. And they're just some great inspiring stories and things that you can do. So that's a little about me. Some of those badges over on the right let you know about some of my affiliations and the companies that I work with, and that I'm just especially fond of and hopefully somewhat proficient at. I always start presentations by kind of showing this slide right, or this badge right here. Yes, I'm an MIE expert, and I'm a very, very proud one. I'm proud to carry that badge. The word expert always scares me a little bit, because I'll be the first to admit I'm a fangirl. I love it. I keep up with it. I study as much as I can. I follow Twitter like crazy, but there are always a few things I don't know. So if you ask a question in the chat and I don't know the answer today, being part of that community puts me in touch with people who do know the answers, and we help each other all the time. So if I can't answer you today, I can get you the answer, because I'm pretty sure I know somebody who does. All right, let's move into the good stuff, right? So I'm going to work under the assumption that most people in this session have at least been in Flipgrid, hopefully explored it with students, been a little bit in there, because this isn't really a how to use Flipgrid, it's how to use a feature of Flipgrid that a lot of people still don't know about. I'm in the Flipgrid Facebook group, and I hang out in there a lot. I see all kinds of great questions, and I learn from the questions that everybody asks, but very, very often I've seen people say, what's the disco library? I don't know what that is. And even people who've been Flipgrid users for a year or two just aren't really sure what that is. So I wanted to talk about that specifically today. Starting from this point, there's a little screenshot. I'm pretending I'm logged into my educator dashboard. And whenever you're logged in, at the very top of your screen, there's that bar up there with some tabs on it. And look at that funky little dude right there. If I push, oops. He's pointing to the disco library in Flipgrid. It's one of the tabs that's at the top, and if you've never clicked on it before, it is probably the most amazing hidden, not hidden feature in Flipgrid. When I present on Flipgrid, very often I do how to use Flipgrid for beginners, how to use Flipgrid, you know, next level, and I always end with disco library, and that's what inspired this webinar, because every time I've done that presentation and I have a group for an hour and a half, 2 hours, whatever, and we make it through all these great Flipgrid tools and how to use it and what to do with students, I squeeze in disco library at the end because I don't want to forget it. And every single time I wish that I had more time and it wasn't squeezed in at the end. And I thought, you know what, you could do a whole hour, probably just on disco library. And so that's what we're here to do today. We're going to go for probably about an hour, and I hope you find, no, I know that you'll find things you didn't see before and inspiration, and just learn a little bit about, you know, some magic that's hidden in here that you didn't explore before. So from this slide, I'm going to get out of my PowerPoint and I'm going to go into my educator dashboard so we can start a live demo. Let me move this guy down out of the way. Okay. And I'm using Edge browser because I'm very Microsofty, right? Y'all have Edge browser. So here's Edge browser, and I'm already logged into my Flipgrid dashboard. If I click on this logo up here, the Flipgrid logo in the corner, it will always take me to this home page. And you know, in Flipgrid, we have grids, right? And each grid can have unlimited topics. I actually have several different Flipgrid accounts. This is my demo one that I usually work off of. So each one of these is a grid. And I don't want to spend too much time here because I feel like you've seen this before. Here's one I use a lot. It's my something I love grid. And if I click into any grid, I can have unlimited topics. So we think of a grid like, some people describe it like a classroom. It's your class community. I often describe it as a web page with limited access. So a grid to students. I'll show you what this looks like to students. If I click right here, this is what it looks like to my classroom or as my web page. And then a grid has topics on it, right? So, and I made these because they're great for PD. Something I love about my life, something I love about workshops, something I love about my family. And these are great topics. So those are topics. And down below are responses from a bunch of different people who've been in workshops of mine over the years. Or over the past year. So anyway, this is how they add a response, and I'm sure you've seen this before. They click the big green plus and start adding video responses. Flipgrid gathers video feedback to prompts of all different kinds. And it's just a way to capture student voice and really, really appreciate and acknowledge things that our students have to say, or for me, that teachers have to say. So I'll back out of that and I'll come back to my educator dashboard. And I'm going to, this is the grid I'm on. I'm going to breadcrumb back. I always think of these things as breadcrumbs, like Hansel and Gretel through the forest. They left a trail of breadcrumbs. So when I want to go back one level, I breadcrumb back. And now I'm back to my grids. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to start up here on the Disco library. And this is where our magic begins today. It's just a tab and it unleashes all of this goodness. I'm going to scroll fast and then I'll come back and scroll slow. Okay, you're getting the idea. So let me come back to the top. And I'll show you that once you get into the Disco library, it tells you right here, find topics created by the Flipgrid community to start your discussion. And it's exactly that. It's user-created topics that you can steal. And I think stealing's okay. That's the whole purpose of this Disco library, that other people have been generous enough to share. But when I teach this to people, when I do workshops on this, it's probably not the way everybody else does it, but I do this. I take my scroll bar and I start here. I get down below all those images and I actually show everybody this first. Guys, if you have never been in the Disco library, rest assured there are as of right this moment, there are 20,110 topics in this Disco library. Over 20,000 topics for you to take, to borrow, to steal from, and hopefully to add to. And I'll show you how to do that before we get to the end. Over 20,000 topics. Oh my goodness. I was talking to a friend this morning who is a Seesaw user. Do you know Seesaw? It's another great app we've been using a lot for remote learning. Seesaw has an activity library. Nearpod has a kind of a library. Bunsey has a library. And so there are other platforms that are starting to curate these. I don't think anybody else has 20,110 topics though. And so this is profound. And I want to show you that once you get in here, make your life easy. You can filter by your audience, your grade level, the people that you're using this with, and you can see those options there. You can filter by subject area. A lot of our high school teachers love this because, they teach one subject. Our elementary school teachers, they're in all of these. Or my favorite is you can do a keyword search for anything that you're doing. So if you're teaching a certain unit or something is timely in the world right now, a current event or something's happening, you can come up here and search topics. And so, of course, before this started today, I prepped for this and I wanted to show you a couple. And actually, one of the ones that I wanted to show you first is sitting right here at the top. It's newly added. So It's called Final Goodbye, and it is really timely. And I can see right here, this is a topic. It was created by Mrs. Weddle. Mrs. Weddle, she says this is good for everyone, all grade levels. It's kind of language arts based, and we're going to just click on this to go into it. Once you click in anything that's in the Disco library, you can do a lot of things with it. The first thing I do is I look at this picture and then I look at this, and this is the prompt that the students would see. So the students will be saying, Final Goodbye. What has e-learning been like for you? What kind of advice would you give to next year's students if we begin the fall learning remotely? What have been your favorite memories from this past year? Share your reflection, right? And she says this is good for every grade and whatever. All you ever have to do, if you love this and you're like, I want to use that with my students 3 minutes from now, easy. You come into the Disco library, you find one you like, and you come over here to select a grid. Now, I told you I have that Something I Love grid, but I actually created one just for today, the Global EdTech Academy with Microsoft and Q. And that's the grid, that's the topic that I want to add, or the grid that I want to add it to, and I click Add. As soon as I do that, it has already added it to my grid and opened it because it assumes I might want to tweak a couple things, maybe that Mrs. Weddle had. If I don't, I can just click, I can go straight to the bottom and I can click on Update Topic, but usually I do. I just want to modify a couple things. So with my learners, I haven't been using the term e-learning. Mrs. Weddle and her students use that. We've been saying remote learning. And I teach elementary school students, so this might be, share your reflection, might be a little too much. And there are 3 big questions here. Maybe I'll take out this last one and I'll just leave it at that. Maybe I don't want to do it for 1 minute and 30 seconds. Maybe my students, they're going to have 45 seconds or 1 minute. Okay, so my students will have only 1 minute. I can turn on video moderation at this point, and those of you who are Flipgrid users, you know that means when they post their video, it won't show up on that grid for everybody to see right away. It stays hidden in the teacher's dashboard so that you can moderate it, and we use that in different levels for different things. Sometimes it's to just, sort of let students know that what they share is private. Sometimes it's for concerns over what students might say or use. So video moderation, always an option. I'm not going to turn that on for my learners because I know that they're all respectful and we've done a lot of digital citizenship. I could change the picture at the top, but I kind of like what Mrs. Weddle had there. And I could change the topic tip, I could add topic attachments, but when I'm done, I'm just going to click Update down at the bottom. Remember I told you about breadcrumbs and breadcrumbing back? Here's Final Goodbye, so this is this topic. Here is my grid, and here I could come back to my dashboard. So let me take you back to my grid. I'll breadcrumb back 1 level, and here it is. So I've got a grid called, my Global EdTech Academy, and it's just added Final Goodbye to there. I borrowed it from Mrs. Weddle, and I added it that quickly. Don't worry, I'm going to add a lot more, and I'll demonstrate this again and again so that you can see it. So let me breadcrumb back to my grids. I'll come back up to Disco Library. And there was one I was thinking about today, and I'm going to do this one much faster. So I come down to this area here, and somebody said, I don't know, maybe somebody can put it in the chat. I don't know if it's today or tomorrow. That we're sending astronauts to the International Space Station. I think it's today, right? So I typed in ISS just to see if there was anything in there. And sure enough, look at this. So things came up right away, and I was really drawn to this one. First of all, I like that oh, thank you. It's today at 3:30. So cool. Or maybe oh, it was scrubbed for today. Okay, weather issues. All right, thank you for filling me in. I'm still interested in this topic though. So look I love that the topic has a GIF. I like the title of it. It's got my interest and I think it's for everyone. So I'm going to click on this one and open it. Love this. Definitely going to capture my students' attention. Look what this person has done. So this is by, George. All right, so George has created this, and there are 3 different links. Yes, he put hyperlinks in here so my students can go out and to different websites and learn a little bit more. And then these are the 2 questions, or 2 of these 3 questions that George is offering up. I like that he's given them choice, 2 of the following 3. And so there are questions down here. They're the prompts that the students will answer. Love it. Watch how quickly this can go. At Select Grid, Global EdTech Academy, Add, It goes in there. I loved everything George had to say. I'm scrubbing to the bottom. I'm going to update that topic. Boom, it's on my grid. I know because I'm going to breadcrumb back to here. And there it is, just that easy. So this is the magic of the Disco library. I told you I was going to take you for a deep dive, and there's some things that I do want to spend some time showing you because I feel like my job today is to inspire you the way that I get inspired by Disco library, and there's just so much in here. I mean, over 20,000 ideas. We could spend some time. Let me come back to this. Don't worry, I'm going to get to that stuff at the top. So I'm back here at the bottom, and this is just so neat. I typed in the word recipe. If you ever are on a workshop or a webinar with me, I tend to focus on food more than I should. And I typed in the word recipe this morning. And as I was scrolling through looking for some, I found this one down here. And I thought, oh, there's a hamburger. First of all, that caught my attention, right? Why wouldn't it? And then las recetas, I'm hoping that's right. And I don't teach high school, but this just caught my interest. So I'm going to come take a look at this and look at this use of Flipgrid. Clearly, this is a Spanish teacher. And what she's done is she put in Spanish these directions. She followed up in English with these directions, and I assume she wants her Spanish students or her English students to practice speaking Spanish, or perhaps vice versa, but they're going to practice speaking it on Flipgrid. So practical, such a great use of Flipgrid. I love it for English language learners because they're practicing actually speaking and communicating in that language. She can hear their accents and syllables and all those different kinds of things. What a great assessment and communication tool for a teacher of foreign languages. Anyway, I just thought this was pretty dynamic. She's got some integration notes over here about how this worked for her in her classroom. And these are tips for you as a teacher. Like, hey, you know, here's some considerations, things I ran into that you might want to think about, or maybe you could make this happen. I love when teachers take the time to add integration notes. All right. So if you notice up here, I'll click add to faves. I already did this. I clicked this earlier. I'll unclick it now. I'll click it again. All right, so it's been added to my faves. Don't worry, I'm going to come back and show you where that is. If I just love this and I teach with I have a friend who's a Spanish teacher across the hall and I'm like, oh, she would love this. I can click share and I can share this with her right from here. I found something cool in the Disco library. Here, you can have it too. All right, so I've added that to my favorites. I'm just going to show you a couple more that I've added to my favorites. I also typed in the word plants because we're doing so much gardening these days here in New Jersey. The weather's been great. And I scrolled down a little bit and I found this one that I really wanted to show you because look, this caught my attention. Preschool and kindergarten plants. Kids as young as preschool using Flipgrid? You betcha, because it's available on any device. And so in my school, they're using it on iPads all the time. A lot of our kids in remote learning are using it on their parents' phones. Now look at this prompt. So this was by Carrie Ann. I don't know her yet, but I like this attention getter. And she said, in a 2-minute video, prepare and record a video of yourself rapping. Yes, rapping. Please pick a backing track. Prepare a rap that covers the following. What is pollination? Also discuss the 2 types. Explain the life cycle of a flowering plant, and all the steps mentioned in the PowerPoint presentation. Dress up, be gangsta, let's have some fun. And I love her prompt, but I'm not going to use it with my kindergartners. So I could either use this with my older learners, or I could adapt this down for my preschoolers or my kindergartners, because I just think it's a great topic. Again, I could come over here to add to grid. I'll do this. And guys, when I do this and I add it, I would obviously come through and maybe change some of the features that are in here. I might need 2.5 minutes, or you know what? I might even need 5 minutes for that one. That's going to be a heck of a wrap, right? And I could come through. I might, attach some things. I've got all these options here. Again, modifying what she created, update the topic. It's on my grid now. Yep, I'll breadcrumb back. And it lives over here. There it is, and it's there for my students to see. I know that is such a fun topic. All right, and I'm seeing Sean says I'm into gardening because it is the garden state. Yep, New Jersey, garden state. I live in South Jersey where we have lots of open space and definitely gardens. All right, I told you I wanted to inspire you, so I did pick some favorites today. And I know you're getting the hang of this, but I picked the ones I picked for a couple of reasons. And this last one I picked because I was wondering, if any of you have ever heard of a little thing called a flip hunt. So a flip hunt is something that I invented about 2 years ago now. Gosh, I think it's two or 3 years ago now. A flip hunt is a video-based scavenger hunt that happens on Flipgrid, and it is crazy fun. I love a good flip hunt. I love a scavenger hunt to begin with. I mean, I've kind of enjoyed those my whole life. I used to like doing plain scavenger hunts, like go outside and find an acorn or find a white rock or find a pine cone. You know, I like those. When I was a teenager in high school, they came out with photo scavenger hunts. I thought they were fun. Video-based scavenger hunts are the best of all because they require some sort of movement or action or silliness or whatever. And it's just been a wild ride to see Flipgrids kind of go crazy in the world. People take them and make their own spins on them and make them better than I ever could have. And these are some great flip hunts that people have been adding. And so if you're interested in checking that out and you're like, what is it? How do I do it? First of all, you can always email me and I'll tell you how to do that by the end, but there are tons of them here in the Disco library and you can go through and find some good ones. Hey, I'm going to remind you at the end of this whole thing, but I'm actually doing a PD just on flip hunts on this Q series of events here. It'll be Sunday. I think it's at noon Eastern. I'll let you know. It's on the last slide, the time for that. I think it's noon Eastern. So a whole thing just on flip hunts, how to do them, how to create them. I'm so lucky that they're giving me time to share that because I've never actually done a full-blown 1-hour webinar on how to do a flip hunt. So I'll be happy to do that on Sunday. Yep, the 31st. All right, so you get the idea. There are lots of things with flip hunts. If I click this one and I really love this one, I could click add to favorites and it would be in my favorites. So I promised I would tell you a little bit more about that, and that's what I want to do now. I want to come up to all these cool colored pictures and I'm going to scroll down again. I know I keep skipping the top part. Don't worry, I'll come back to it because I want to show you this part. And this part always kind of looks this way. Whenever you visit this site, you'll see this sort of grid of all these cool things. And the top row of this grid is a little different than the rows that are below it. So conversation starters, topics to just get started. These are selects. So my friends from Flipgrid, this is Journée and Anne and Jess. Every week they go through and they pick some select topics that have been added that they think are dynamic or fun or interesting or cool, and they add them to their own, sort of like their top hits of the week, you know, kind of a thing. And so you can look there for those and find ones that they're recommending. Made for me is ones that are kind of related to you, but this is where I wanted to take you right now, my faves. So I'm going to click here because I have done a bunch of this before today. So in preparation for this webinar, as I was going through, I was favoriting some of the different topics that I really wanted to show you. And I'm not showing you all these, I promise. I would drive you nuts. But remember, final goodbye, I put it in here. It's one of my favorites. So I can come back next year or with my next class or with my next semester class and use that same one, or taking a tour on the ISS, right? Because they're in my favorites. So I've got them sort of in a special place, right? They gave me a file folder here called My Faves. And there were a few others that I really did want to point out to you. Coming down here. So Anne is on the Flipgrid team. And she's done this one. This is so fun for every grade level, even grown-ups, even at your next, like, okay, Friday night when you're hanging out with your friend. Oh, no, we're not hanging out with our friends. And when you're remote hanging out with your friends on a webinar, you know, one of those Friday night kind of hang out with your buddies. This one's fun. Flipgrid has a pixelation filter in there. I use it all the time because I'm not actually super comfortable being on video, so I often pixelate myself. I tell people I look best pixelated. So Anne has come up with this one, and we won't know if that's Anne or not right there. It's a mystery because it's a game of guess who. Look at this. Let's get to know our classmates by playing a game. Use the pixel filter to disguise yourself. Share 3 things about yourself. Be sure not to give away who you are. And have fun and be creative and respond to your peers and see if, you know, in the responses in Flipgrid, if you can guess who they are. And you know, I've played this with kids and they're disguising their voices and they're trying to scrunch up their mouth so it's not recognizable. The girls are putting lipstick on. I mean, it's like, it's just fun. And she's given us some integration notes over here. So of course that's added to my faves, right? Where's Jess? So Jess, my friend Jess, also on the Flipgrid team, has added, I love this, it's just so clever. What's in your bag? If you had 5 items to put in a bag that best showcased who you are, what would they be? Describe each item or show us and tell us why it represents you as a person. And so I've done this one. I've seen this with elementary school students. I love it as a beginning of the year activity, but I also think it's a great way to keep in touch for remote learning. You know, pulling items out of your bag, and it's almost like show and tell, but you know, you have a limited amount of time because the teacher can set the time limit on this. So maybe 1 minute to show 5 items, and how do those items represent you? And I just think it's even fun for adults maybe to do this with each other as a great get to know you activity, anytime, any grade. That's why it's one of my faves. Okay, I'm looking at our time. We're about halfway through, which is exactly where I wanted to be right now. So I'm going to pop back up to the top, and I keep promising you I'm going to show you more things. So in addition to my faves is something called My Library. And this is topics that I have shared to the Disco library. And yes, you can too. So, and I honestly, this is kind of weak. I mean, I've shared, oh my goodness, I've shared 14 topics, and I'm like Flipgrid woman, but there are people who have shared hundreds. I mean, like hundreds of topics. There are people who really, really go all out. I need to do a better job of this. Next time you see me on social media, remind me. So these are topics that I've added, that they're out there. You can see that it was created by me, and I didn't show you earlier that you could also, if I clear filters here, you can also search by a person. So if you typed in Kathi, okay, you can see that my things start to come up here. I have a friend I searched for earlier. Her name is Glorianne. And when I type in that, this is Glorianne right here. She does some really great topics. So I've used a lot of hers. As a matter of fact, this kindergarten weather flip hunt is extraordinary. So that's just a little bit about what's in my library. When you start adding to this, and you're going to take it from 20,000, what was it? 20,110 items in here. You're going to make that go even higher, right? Because we're always sharing. That's where yours will live. So you can always find yours and share them quickly. But under that, I want to show you all of these blocks here. And I think this is a major reason I wanted to do this today. Flipgrid's done an incredible job of being friends with so many other ed tech companies and organizations that are out there. I mean, they've really done more outreach and bonding and togetherness, and let's all, you know, let's not be competitive, let's be collaborative. And it's been amazing and a beautiful thing. So every one of these, from Wonderopolis all the way down to the Met, are organizations that have partnered with Flipgrid and created items that have to do with what they're about, right? So I want to take you through a few of them. I know we don't have time to do all of them, but some of these you may not know. Guys, Wonderopolis is a standalone website, wonderopolis.com, I'm going to say. I have followed them for 15 years probably. They're just amazing. I used them years ago. I used to put it as my prompt when the kids walked in at the beginning of the day. There was a Wonderopolis thing up there. They give you a wonder of the day. And I'll just tell you, my philosophy is education, whether we are elementary, middle, or high school, or beyond, our whole job is, yeah, we teach our content, but I believe wholeheartedly that our real job is to expose our students to as many things of interest as we can while we've got them, because something is going to ignite a passion in somebody in your room. And that's going to be the thing that they pursue. That's going to be their passion, their dream, their livelihood, their career. And it'll be because of something that you showed them. And I just believe all of these topics in Flipgrid give us the ability to do that so beautifully. So Wonderopolis, this one gets me wondering all the time. Look at these. They're all question-based things. What is a Rube Goldberg machine? I know you have kids in your class who've never seen a Rube Goldberg machine. And so if you show this to them, and this is their topic, and they're watching this, and it says, check out the article below, and then think about how you would make a Rube Goldberg machine. Take your time, it's not easy. And next, make that machine and show us your creation. I'm adding that to my favorites. What a great topic. And look, they've linked a document here, or they've linked out to a website. So I'm going to come out, and it literally takes me out to the Wonderopolis website. And here's that article that they posted on that day. I can't find the date of it, but that was the wonder of the day one day. And it's a whole web page devoted to that. Wonderopolis is amazing. Totally underappreciated. If you've never used it, fall in love with it today. It's one of the reasons I was hoping you would come here today, just to find a few new things. Guys, Wonderopolis has created all of these topics. I haven't even stopped scrolling. They go on and on and on and on. They've given those to us through Flipgrid, and they're there to inspire your kids and give them something new that they've never seen before. All right, I'm moving on because I get hung up. We.org. Oh my gosh, if you haven't heard of we.org, I don't know their official buzz line, but I can tell you we.org is an organization that does global goodness. Let me click on it. It's all about giving kids, giving people, mostly students, giving students ways to make the world a better place, whether that's through human kindness, making environmental impacts, lobbying for fair things. I mean, it's all things that are good. That's what we.org is about. And they put money behind it and they put people behind it. And they're a huge, wonderful organization. And that's all they're about. It's just global goodness. I don't know how else to describe it. I'm in love with the work that they do, and I've been able to work with them a little bit on some things. Anyway, you can see I did favorite a couple of these. This one, Home is Where the Heart Is, touched me when I saw it. And look, there's a YouTube video called Kids Meet a Refugee. And this links out to a video where your students are actually meeting and seeing an interview between kids talking to a refugee and what that's like. And there are some questions here about that, and there are some links and things that take you out to things. Guys, you add this to your grid, modify that however you want, but there's no kid in the world who doesn't need to see that and just know a little bit about what that's like. We're building better humans. When we take them to things like we.org, it's really great. Any age, any grade, there's just so much that you can do there. Nearpod, one of my favorite apps, they've put a lot of things in here. Flocabulary has been around for so long. They're actually friends with Nearpod. They've been bought by Nearpod, and it's learning by rap videos, if you've never seen that. So I'll just come in here and show you how many lessons they have and what types of subjects they're on. Pretty much something for everyone. You can see elementary, middle, and high school, and they're adding more all the time. This one I've enjoyed before, Colonial America, and it will take you out. I'm not going to play it, but it will take you out to the YouTube rap of Colonial America. This one's hysterical. So if you're coming back after this to be like, what is FluCap? Watch the Colonial America one. That's one I can recommend because it's funny. And you can share that out with your students straight from the Disco library. MSN.kids, right? It's a news site, so it's going to have some current events kinds of things and questions like that for kids. Tinker, if you're not familiar with Tinker, it is a coding website. And I was on this one earlier, and I came down to, where's the dragon one? Of course, I can never find the one I'm looking for. Oh, there it is, Dragon Dash. And I like this one because I've done some coding with my students. I used to be a computer teacher, and I've played this game. And Dragon Dash is a lesson that digs deeper into conditional logic, the if-then statements, right? And so if you're doing those with students, this is super cool. Name some real-world conditions, if-then. And this is great for English language arts teachers who are trying to do those kinds of statements too. So just because it's coding doesn't mean you couldn't use it in another subject. Tinker, awesome, awesome, awesome. It's just a great site, and I love that they've contributed to this. Our friends at Skype in the Classroom, another Microsoft product. Of course, they've got topics on here too, and the very first one up at the top, Roots and Shoots. That's, if you don't already know, that's an organization that's run by Jane Goodall. She's amazing, and it celebrates the work that she's done, and this is a prompt through Skype Classroom about the Roots and Shoots impact of what that's doing. I just happened to look over at the chat, and I saw Laurel said, do you need separate accounts for things like Flocabulary that are subscription based in order to use the Flipgrid resources? Hey, Laurel, not for the ones they've posted on this site. So you're right, Flocab is it's a paid site, and to use all of the stuff that they have, you would have to get a subscription. But when you use the activities that they have through Flipgrid, you're going to be able to get to those. They've made them available. Yeah, no problem, Lauren. All right, guys, Roots and Shoots, Jane Goodall. I do a lot of work with the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals, and making the world a healthier place and teaching students about ways that they can make an impact on their world. And there's just great stuff about that. Hey, wait a minute, Anna. Every month they also feature, look at this, there's Anna and Abdella. These are featured educators. This could be you. This could be you. Yeah, they feature different people on here. They make a cool caricature of you, and they feature you in this block so that prompts and things that you've done, topics that you've suggested, are in there. So you might get to be a featured educator one time too. Anna's my friend. She's from Russia. I hope she sees this. They have a whole category here from learning from home. Guys, they've got breakouts, digital breakouts. You know, have you done the Breakout EDU? Yeah, they've got those. Here's Gigi's Garden. Look, click here to play the digital game. And once you're done doing the digital breakout, here's some reflection questions about that. What was the most challenging puzzle? If you added a new puzzle to this game, what would it be? I love that, right? Teaching game design and thinking. Oh, that's such a great skill for all ages. So that's part of, where was I? Breakout EDU. Guys, you know code.org. I was on this one this morning, and one of my favorite thing about teaching coding altogether, favorite all-time thing is debugging. Here it is, weird and wacky bugs. And this entire prompt is about, so you've run into a problem? How'd you solve it? I love this. Our kids, they'll give up on how to solve a math problem. They won't want to finish fixing an error in a writing piece. But if they're writing computer code or they're doing any of these kinds of things, they will stick with it. They will develop stick-with-itness and grit to no end, because debugging is fun, right? And we teach them that in coding, and then we take it back over to math and language arts and all the other subjects, and we kind of teach them that cycle of sticking with something until we can work through it. And this is a prompt a little bit about that. I love that code.org has things on here to get kids thinking in that way. Find your grind. All right, here's another one. If you haven't heard of it, Find Your Grind. Great team of people. This guy right here. They also, it's social emotional learning. If you're doing any work with SEL, which we all should be doing now as part of remote learning, the team from Find Your Grind is all about that. They're about coupling social emotional, knowing yourself, and using that knowledge to figure out what you want to do, where you want to go, what you want to be, what your passions and interests are, and whatever. Literally finding your grind, right? That makes sense now. And they are awesome. They were at Flipgrid Live last year, super high energy, great people. And these are all things that work in that way. High school teachers, a lot of things that are kind of career driven, a lot of topics that you might use. And not that we can't use these in elementary, but I really love it for that. Check some of those topics out, and you can search here by them if you don't find it up here. All right, BBC Learning, it's, media literacy. Capstone, our friends from Capstone, they write books for younger learners, and they have some great prompts in here I was checking out earlier. Hacking STEM is another Microsoft product, and these are STEM challenges. There's one in here that's really, really popular, a lot of my friends like, designing Astro socks. Yes, that's right. I'll show you the prompt. NASA has commissioned your team of biomechanic engineers to design mitigation prototypes that reduce the discomfort on the tops of astronauts' feet and make a Flipgrid commercial for your design. If I were doing this with elementary school kids, I'd still give them this challenge, and I'd change all those big words, right? Or teach the vocab. So include the following in a commercial: the description of your design problem, your prototype and how it addresses the problem. You might or might not have them go out to an Excel worksheet. Doesn't matter. You can still take it to your grid, modify it, make it your own, make it work for your class. Astronaut socks. Love it. I hope you're finding new ideas that you didn't know were in here. All right, the World War II National Museum of New Orleans has some really good and touching topics in here. Look, Holocaust survivors. I mean, I know so many of us are teaching this. I know a lot of high school teachers are drawn to this topic here. Some things to really develop empathy and historical understanding. Epic is a kids book site. Again, a lot of my elementary teachers are doing this. This will link out to those books on Epic. I just looked at the word empathy, and have prompts related to those books that are available through the website Epic. California State Parks has partnered. I was so happy when I saw this one. I thought, what a unique partnership. Yay, Flipgrid, for finding this one, just different. California State Parks has a lot of topics on here. I live in New Jersey, so these aren't places that I get to or my students get to a lot. And life as a tide pool creature, oh my gosh, that's just super cool.
Hi, I'm
And I'm going to get out because his video just started. But yeah, there are real videos from like rangers at the park and all kinds of cool things. This is great. A travel opportunity for you and your students. Happy little field trip. Go out to some California state parks and discover what they have to offer. And your students can respond to those prompts. And the Met, guys, the Met, another clever partnership with Flipgrid. Look at this, different pieces of art. I was looking at this one earlier. I thought it was pretty neat. There's a pattern. And it talks about how that's a screen that was used in India, and it asks kids to go around and find the architecture of your school or home, snap a picture, and then describe the pattern. And there are a couple links out on that one too. You can see why this was worth an hour. This is worth spending an hour on because there's just so much here. And if you haven't seen or known about all these partners that are working and they have these playlists here in Flipgrid's Disco library, amazing. Let me come back up. Oh, I want to show you something I found this morning. I hope you don't mind. This is a little bit off the beaten path, but I'm going to scroll all the way to the bottom of the Flipgrid website. Like way to the bottom. Okay. I'll never get to the bottom of this one. Hang on a sec. Let me just go to Disco library. All right. Can I get to the bottom? It goes on and on and on. All right, let me just go back to, it's going to keep adding because there's so many topics. All right, let me click on my activity and I'll go to the bottom of this one. So all the way down here at the bottom, I found this button that says Inspire, and I just never clicked on it before until today. But check this out. If I click on Inspire, this is great. This is great, like for you to put on with your husband and your family or whatever as you're sitting around this weekend. And they're just great discussion prompts. Discuss a game that makes you happy. You don't want that one? Discuss an innovation that makes you wonder. And it just, look, I just keep clicking and they're new discussion prompts. Discuss a childhood memory that changed your world. And if I wanted to copy that, I can copy that exact thing, come back to my educator dashboard, and you know what I'm going to do right now, right? I'm going to go to my grids. I'm going to come down to this one we're working on today, this global ed tech one, and I'm going to say I want to add a new topic right this minute because that was inspiring. And I'm going to just paste that in here. I just copied it. Now I pasted it. And I'll call it memory change the world, right? Or something, whatever you want to name it. And, you know, you can go through and set all your things and create a topic. All right, so I've just added that one. That's how easy it was. I happened to find that Inspire button this morning and I thought, oh, got to share that. I didn't know it was there. Okay, a couple other things I have to do before I know, isn't that cool? I'm looking at your comments and you're excited. I'm so happy you're excited. I want you to be excited with me. All right, so we're going to go over to just a couple things that I wanted to make sure I end with, and that is back here on, I think there's a couple ways to get to it, but if you go to my activity, yeah, and then if I come down, come over to achievements here. There's two ways to get to this. So I can go to my activity and then achievements to get to it. Or I think if I click on my name up here, yeah, there's achievements. Okay, so there are two ways to get to it. So there's like badges and things that you can do as you live in the Flipgrid world. You're getting emailed, you're finding them, you can share them on social media. It's really cool to collect badges. So I've been a member for a while, and just on this account, I've got, let's see, I first became a Flipgrid certified educator, and then I became level 2, and then I became level 3. And it's been fun to go through this journey and learn. And, you know, the more you create, the more you kind of get involved. If you start adding things to the Flipgrid Disco library, you are on your way to becoming some of these levels. And I'm just going to show you this real quick because this is almost like a whole different thing. If you want to become a Flipgrid certified, this is kind of level 1. This is what it looks like. There are 3 topics here. Flipgrid 1, Flipgrid 2, Flipgrid level 3. We're on Flipgrid level 1. They give the directions exactly what you have to do here. Here's a hyperlink to more. And then you need to add a video down below. So just to become a Flipgrid level 1 certified educator, and I shouldn't say just, this is like a remarkable achievement and you'll get a badge. These are the things that you're going to do. And once you submit all those, you wait for a little while and you hear back from Flipgrid and you get that pretty badge and you tell all your friends and certainly tell your boss at work, right? Flipgrid level 2. I'll click on these requirements. and it's called Dive Deeper, just like we're doing today. And look at that pretty badge. They have the greatest graphic designers over at Flipgrid. And it says you have to have level 1, but look what starts to happen. Add 5 enriching resource-infused topics to the Disco library, and be sure to include those integration notes. So you want to go to level 2, you're going to have to start contributing to that Disco library, which is why I wanted to show you about these certifications, because I know you're going to want to get them, and that's how you have to get them. So let me come back here. And you can find those links and things by just going to your name and clicking on achievements, or going to my activity and achievements, and they'll be there. The links to them are there, and I know you're going to want to start to do that. Hey, by the way, what if you had a great idea and you wanted to add it to the Disco library? Oh my gosh, you could do it this afternoon. Let me come over to my grids. I'm going to go down to something I love because I had some things in here, and I'm going to say, you know what? This one, something I love about my family, that has served me well. That's been great. And I think a lot of other educators could benefit from this same topic. I think this would be popular with all ages, you know, whatever. And I'm going to share this. Easy. Don't click share. Click actions. And look, they have it right there. It's that easy. So once you're on your topic, just click add to Disco library. Make sure you fill out all the parts or the form won't let you submit. So who is your audience? Remember those questions? Is this for everyone? Yes, it is. What is the subject for that one? I don't even know what to call this subject. Sometimes I put other when I'm not sure. I think people appreciate it when I categorize it more. I'm going to call it other right now because our time is running short. And then I would type in my information here. And guys, just fill out all the blanks. And when you get to the bottom, and add attachments if you want, click, oops, can you see it down there? Add to Disco library. What that's going to do is it does not appear in the Disco library right away. Let me see, am I done with this one? Yep, so I'm going to come back to my PowerPoint and kind of talk through the rest of this with you here because the rest of this kind of finishes out on a slide. I'm looking at my time. Guys, these are the companies that I showed you that are currently partnering with Flipgrid. I know Flipgrid does tremendous outreach. I know that there are more coming. I've put this sort of yellow colored one here because I'm sort of hoping this yellow colored company is the next one to add here. You guys know Bunsey? Bunsey's so amazing, and I'm sort of hoping that they're the next like partner button in the playlist group. So keep checking back to see new partners added all the time. And don't forget, as of right now, there are 20,110 topics, but after you guys let loose on this, who knows where this will go, because you're just going to grow this thing. All right, and this is what I was talking about. You can submit to, so go to any topic that you think others would like, click actions, click add to Disco library, and wait for approval, and you'll be notified your topic has been added to the Disco library. I'll tell you, it's an adrenaline rush. It is. You just feel like so fancy when they notify you that you're there. It's I don't know, like achievement unlocked kind of a thing. Please, I told my friends at Flipgrid that I was going to mention this today. Ever since remote learning began and more of the world has learned about Flipgrid, and more interest has been there, and teachers have time to get creative and explore these great tech tools finally. The submissions have been pouring in, like the floodgates have opened, and my friends at Flipgrid are really good. They have a team who goes through every submission to make sure it's appropriate, you know, everything's filled out, and then they put it through to the Disco library. That's taking, you can understand, it's taking longer than normal. In the Facebook group, I see sometimes, I submitted, it's been, you know, 8 hours. It's going to take longer. It might take days. It might even take a week. I don't know what their timeline is right now. I just know that they're really trying to keep up with it and support you and let you get that adrenaline rush when yours gets accepted too. It will happen. All right. So yes, I already talked about how you can get certified and that there are 3 levels and sort of where to go for that. I see some questions coming in, so I'm just going to hop over here for a second, see if I can answer those. And thanks for dropping that in there. That was one of my links I was supposed to drop in, but I got so busy talking. So Ann Cosma has dropped in the link for more information on the Disco library and how you can do these certifications and all that great stuff. Suzanne is asking, do you only add your own Flipgrids to the Disco library, or can you add others that you find that you like? You can only add your own, but you can save others that you like for yourself, Suzanne, because the ones that you create, it will have your name attached to it when it goes out there in the Disco library. You'll see created by Suzanne McKenna, and you kind of want that, want it to be your unique creation. Yep, Jess, oh my gosh, Jess from Flipgrid is also in here. She says, yes, we're approving as fast as we can. Thanks for your patience, everyone. So I'm enjoying these. Lisa, the Flip Hunt session will be, it's not posted yet. You're right. Oh yes, you're right. It's not posted. They didn't start posting for next week, but it'll be Sunday at 12 Eastern. I actually have a slide coming up about that. Hey guys, I forgot to say at the very beginning of this, and I hope you just kind of noticed. Ugh. Nope, didn't mean to do that. Hang on a sec. Am I not screen sharing now? Ah! Inevitably, I do this every time. Hang on, I'm not done. I swear I have one more thing. Okay, I'm so sorry. Down at the bottom of the screen is, I'm trying to move this out of the way without doing that again. Okay, is my email on the green line, my Twitter handle on the yellow line, and that book that I co-authored, soon to be released, and I think in about 2 weeks, maybe 3, Sail the Seven Seas with Microsoft Education. I just wanted to remind you about that because it's going to be super cool, and I just never wrote a book before, and I feel like such a grown-up. All right. Here, more Flipgrid happiness coming with me at these Q things, because obviously I'm passionate about it and I'm so thankful that they're letting me do this. I do have one recording that's already posted on the site. It was all about Flipgrid augmented reality, and we talked about those, if you can see my little person down here. Nope, it's not showing up on the video, about those QR codes in Flipgrid that you can scan and they pop off in augmented reality, and I shared like 25 different ideas that you can use those with. Really, really fun. Again, high energy, fast paced, lots of enthusiasm. That's already recorded and posted on the site. This Sunday, 12 to 1 Eastern, I'm doing my first ever, these have been out for like 3 years, my first ever, actually, what's a flip hunt and how to create your own webinar from 12 to 1 Eastern also will be recorded. And I also have these things they're giving me called office hours from now throughout the summer. I have these blocks, random blocks at different times. I have like 9 or 10 of them coming up, spread out, that are just open office hours. On that, you can come on. We're going to leave our videos on. We're going to leave our microphones on. We can just chat. You can ask me questions. You can put them in the chat. Well, you can share ideas, and it's sort of just an informal, that kind of a thing. I have a lot of those spread out throughout the summer, so look for those on the schedule. They'll also be posted on the schedule, the Q schedule. So coming up. And and so I'm going to end, not with that. I'm going to end with thank you for popping in to join me today. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate you. I hope that you got a lot out of this session. Definitely some new ideas, new places to go, things you didn't know were there. And mostly, I can't wait to see that number in the Flipgrid Disco library go up even more because of all of you. So keep going out there, exploring Flipgrid, sharing it with your students, making that magic, and amplifying your students' voices, because you're rocking it. Bye. Oh, I'll stay on and answer a couple questions in the chat that might be popping in if anybody's still got them. I've got about 3 or 4 more minutes before I have to go.
Hey, Kathi K. I'm just coming in real quick to say you rock. Thank you for the brain zings.
Hey, Ann, that was so much fun.
Love ya.
Oh my gosh.
Session.
And thanks for being here. It was really fun.